Okay, folks, good evening. Back again with the continuation of what we're continuing. Mm. Well, I got some news to report. Nothing exciting yet, but I need to go ahead and glue this and I can get into it. What I did this evening and what a big fail it was and what I'm going to do next. Wasn't that big a fail. It's not like, oh, that's right. So why is my screen going dull? Well, because my power is not plugged in. Yes, and my camera is probably back out. I am all out of sorts. I have spent the last hour doing something unsuccessful, something that I had very low hopes for, and they came to fruition. Let's see. Wish I could find out what that sound is. Because I don't hear well and it's bugging the hell out of me. I swear it didn't used to do it before. Okay. Alright, let's check something. Does it say Rosebud? It does. Okay, perfect. Alright, let's so we spray painted these guys and then we this morning we spray painted them over the weekend, I think on Sunday or I don't know, some day this week. And I brushed on the surface primer this morning, and one of these things fell off. So I've got to glue that so we can mess with that at a later date. So we just need a little bit of epoxy. So where was it that, let's see, where do I start this story? A couple days ago, like Monday, I ended up watching a video or something like that on airbrushes. And some of you guys know I had one. I didn't have one for, well, let's back up. In the early 90s, I worked at a hobby store. We had access to one, okay? A Pache airbrush, and it worked fine. I did several tanks, 1/35th scale tanks with it with camouflage. It wasn't particularly difficult to use. It wasn't particularly difficult to clean up. Fast forward to, what would it have been? 5 years ago? Don Harding decided to, he was telling me about this airbrush that they had at Harbor Freight, and it was like $80 with a compressor. And I'm like, I don't want to do it because, you know, I don't think it's something I'm going to use a whole lot of. But when he told me the price, I took a look at it, and I bought it. And it's what I painted my DBA mats with. And it started working okay, and then it would clog up, and then, you know, it would have issues. So I'm like, okay, well, at some later point, I will, I might look at getting another airbrush. But, so I started looking at a video. I don't remember exactly what video is, but I was trying to figure out why I had so much trouble with the airbrush, because I don't feel like I'm somebody that should be having airbrush issues, because it's not like I'm not patient, and it's not like, you know, I tore apart a pistol. I didn't know anything about firearms. I went online, tore apart a pistol, changed some things on it, worked fine. It was a piece of cake. They're easy to clean. I'm like, why do I have so much trouble with airbrush? Like, so I figured it's because it was the suction one that I got. And I'm like, that's right. It didn't have enough problems with the suction. So I'm like, at some later point, I'll probably give it a shot again, because I'm having really bad issues with the spray paint, with the rattle cans. I used to use Model Master spray, and that got discontinued. And the rattle cans now are just really poor quality. I'm getting sputter everywhere, and it's very, very stinky. It's a bad smell. It's a bad, strong smell, no matter which brand I use. So I saw some video on Monday and of this review, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to not get one from Harbor Freight. I saw that Amazon had one for like $160 with a compressor, with a tank, and I figured, okay, well, I will give that a shot again, and if it doesn't work, I will just return it, because it's really easy to return things through Amazon, as opposed to pretty much any other means. And so I got it in. I got it in today, and I spent about an hour messing with it. I'm like, I'm taking it one step at a time. We're going to make sure that it can still blow, that we don't have any issues with the bubbles and stuff. And I got this stuff that I made, I don't know how many years it was, 4 or 5 years ago. I saw a video, and I made my own airbrush thinner, mainly to clean. I don't mind using the pre-made airbrush thinner to thin the airbrush as I go, thin the paint. But to clean it out, I don't want to use expensive stuff just to clean it out. So this has all kinds of stuff in it, including distilled water and I think Windex. I forget exactly what it is. There's a guy that went on and made a video online. And hey, Marcus. And so I made this. So I figured, okay, let's put the airbrush together and let's run this through it and make sure this is running okay. Didn't even work. It didn't even work this far to get that. I couldn't get it to come through. There was a suction issue. And I messed with it for about an hour. And I didn't get upset because I know it's relatively easy to return. So I'm going to take it one step further. And I figured, it is a crappy airbrush. I agree that. But the compressor's okay. So really, it's like a $20 airbrush when you do all the math and deduct it from the cost of the compressor. I'm going to go this weekend, and I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to see if I can return it. Before I put paint in it, I'm just running basically like water through it. And I'm going to buy an Iwata airbrush, one that is definitely easy to take apart and clean. And if that one doesn't work, then I'm giving up and I'm never airbrushing again. It's just a pain in the freaking ass. But I would just like to use it for base coating things and sealing, so I don't have to use the damn rattle cans. I know you can do other things with it, but I just want that basic thing to be able to do. And like I said, it shouldn't be this fucking difficult. So I'm going to buy one. I don't care how much it costs. Well, I do, but if you can't buy a good one made in Japan and it messes up too, then there must be some problem with the operator. And like I'm telling you, I consider myself smarter than that. I watch videos, and maybe it's just bad luck. Maybe it's just karma saying, no, you need to just stick to the regular brushes. But the rattle cans are expensive. They're really poor quality. They'll start, and you can do anything. I've tried holding them upside down to clear the thing when I'm done. They're just a mess. They're stinky. They're sticking up the garage. I'm wearing a respirator to use them so I don't, breathe that stuff in. So we're going to give that a shot this weekend. And if not, it can all just go back, But anyhow, it's just really frustrating that somebody that, is attention to detail and they can't do that. So, anyhow. Don't use an airbrush as well. Some of the late war German pans are probably better with it. Can decent result from layering and dry brushing. Yeah, I don't need it to do what I need to do it for. So, anyhow, okay, this is way too distracting. Hey Rick, good evening. So I think the compressor's fine. It's got a regulator. I can adjust the PSI on it, which is good as far as that goes. So I'm going to see if that works this week, and if not, it'll all go back. And the next person that mentions air and brush in the same sentence, I'm just going to start spitting at them. All right. Okay, so we've got this ugly Marder II. I don't think they're very attractive. And let's get this black off of here, which I'm not sure why I even bothered, but So I didn't even get to the point where it's like if it's easy to tear apart and clean, like I couldn't even let it run water through there. Like I said, I've used an airbrush before. It's not like I'm a total retard. I know people don't like to use that word, but I do. I'm from the 80s. There's nothing wrong with me. I should be able to do that, and I've used one before. But it might just be. So I looked at the troubleshooting. Nozzle can be clogged. I'm like, how can it be clogged? I haven't even used the thing yet. I'm like, that's not a good sign. You're going back. I'm not messing with it. All right. Pens are great. Joe Coton, there you are. Ran a cool naval game the other day, and we all had fun. Well, I don't know. Did you have fun running it? And yes, I did look at chips, and they do make them in 1/2400 scale by Tumbling Dice, and I think they make those Danish ones too. But like I said, that's a little too early. I'd like to do like 1880s. You know, when chips are a little bit. They didn't. I looked through the rule book when you weren't looking and see if there were scenarios. They have Russians, but they didn't. I think they had Russians. They didn't have those Russians in the round ships. See out of the way before I end up epoxying something I don't want. And let's do something productive this evening so I can get that bad taste out of my mouth. It's not a bad taste. It's just I look at it and it's like, you know, I had an hour. I spent an hour that I could have been doing something that was positive and ended up doing something frustrating. It's like playing a video game and it's a boss fight that you couldn't beat, you know? Round chips are a little later. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely something that was invented over a round of vodka for sure. What if we make ship round? I don't know. Sounds like a good idea. Let's make it. Yeah, and it was probably a nightmare going downstream. Can you say Congo River Rapids? They were named after admirals, weren't they? Were they named after a really fat admiral? Because that would make sense. Name a round ship after a very rotund admiral. Anyways, we'll see. To be continued. Oliver Cromwell, welcome. Painting an ugly tank destroyer. Hey Nordic, you missed my rant on airbrushing. To be continued. I'm going to give it one more shot this weekend. But if the first thing you do is run water through it and it doesn't work, if all it's doing is bubbling, it's not a good sign. And I hate manuals that tell you all this shit you can do with it, but then they can't even get it to work to begin with. But like I said, it's just to prime. And just get away from the rattle cans. Just to prime and to seal. That's it. That's good enough for me. I don't need to do other things other than that. You know, let's put it that way. Let's put it this way. I got to be able to do that first before you get into something more complicated. And just for that, I'm even less likely to do 3D printing now. No, it doesn't mean you have paint. I just bought it. Well, you missed the conversation. I decided to order one, and before I did anything else, and yes, it was a cheap one on purpose because I wanted it for the compressor. And I figured, okay, well, we can start with it, and it's a gravity fed, not a suction one. and they had pretty good reviews. I know it's not supposed to be like super perfect, but so I run basically water through it and adjust the needle, and it just keeps bubbling. It just isn't. I'm like, I'm not fooling with it. I'm not. I don't care what's wrong with it. I'm moving on to a different airbrush. So I'm gonna try an Iwata, which have a very good reputation supposedly. And if that doesn't work for me, then I'm gonna spit on the next time somebody mentions something about airbrush. So must be something in the rooms. I'm tired of doing the rattle cans. The rattle cans are just stinky, and it's not even the stink. It's just it's getting everywhere. And I'm being careful, and it's just they just don't make them like they used to. The Model Masters were fine. I loved them. And they started off being $3, and they were $4 and $5, and then they were $6.99, and I paid it, and they just stopped making them. They got tired of taking my money. Like, oh, it's not good for the environment. Okay. Tiny little paint cans are ruining the environment. Got it. I was going to say, you definitely don't sound like you would enjoy a 3D printer. No, I mean, like this, it's slow, right? But every step I'm taking, I'm going closer to the goal. I just blew an hour out there, and what did I do? Nothing. I got nothing accomplished. So, yeah, 3D printer, nah, I'll gladly pay somebody else to paint it, to do it. Yeah, there's no Lysol cleaner, no paint, never been used. So, we're giving up on that airbrush. This is like a $20 airbrush that they throw in with a compressor. That's fine. So we're going to do another gravity fed, something made in Japan. If the fucking Japanese can't get it working right, I'm a fan of Japanese stuff. So then it's obviously karma. No, where is it? I'll tell you the stuff that I hate about technology. And I'm not anti-technology, but shit should work. I printed up a bunch of crooked spider flags over the weekend. And they looked fine on paper. I made them big. I did them on my sketchbook program. Put them on there, reduced them to size, printed up different variants. They go and print them out, and they don't look like they're elongated. So instead of them being, like this, about these proportions, they're like this. And it just, so now you got a swastika that's in the middle that's out of shape. And I'm like, but it looked fine on the screen. Just little things like that are just like, you know what? Just give me a paintbrush and I'll pan paint the decals. You saw something yesterday that make me decide never get Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro any money again. Well, I don't have to worry about it because they don't have products that I want. So. I'm tired of businesses being activist. I don't even care if they're for a cause I believe in. Just frickin' what should your cause be? Frickin' make money. Obviously, not on the heads of slaves, but that should be what it is. Make a good product. Not create more legislation that no one should be in favor of, regardless of what it is. Okay. So this dried almost immediately. Let's grab, we need a better brush for this. Let's grab our Luftwaffe blue. Okay. And then we're going to do a dusting of that. If you ran another one, what would you like? The Danes. Do that one with the Danes and the Austrians. But not something too big. I think that one ship per person was good. I think the size of the scenario you ran was good. So I got to read some of the history because I was like, how the Austrians and the Danes didn't fight each other, and then you told me the Austrians helped the Prussians. I'm like, oh, yeah, but like 2 years later they got into it. The Prussians and the Austrians fought in two years after that engagement. I want to do something with those two Italian ships. What is it? Italian Lepanto. They have like no belt armor. They got like no belt armor, but they're like, well, they were fast for the time. They're almost 18 knotters, and have a couple of like 17.7-inch guns. What, four of them, right? And open barbettes, two on each side, and supposedly could carry like several battalions of troops, like 10,000 troops or something like that. Yeah, there's got to be some scenario where they got to run from one side of the board or the other, but that's out of the scope of your ironclad game. And they fire only once a month or something like that. They're really slow firing ships. But the only thing I didn't like about that game was that they called the left and the right side of the ship. You mean port and starboard? A naval game created by a landlubber. That little buggy. Bye-bye. It must have gotten into the garage. And then when I was going in and out of the garage with the airbrush from here, even though the garage was closed, he came inside. And he wanted to be famous. Landlubber Games LLC. What's the difference between an LLC and an incorporation? Is it like just the amount of, and then there's limited, right? Is it just the amount of volume of business it does? I bet your permit costs differently or something like that. I'm going to be playing a game later on in the month using Triumph rules. I think they're DBA style rules. I don't know how I feel about that. Well, yeah, they're DBA players that made their own rules, but they're heavily. It's basically DBA with a few things changed. So I don't like them. I don't like that they charged for them. I don't have a problem with them doing that. They shouldn't have charged for them. But people can do whatever they want. But they're no better than DBA in my opinion. As a matter of fact, I think 3.0 is better. But it doesn't address any of the things that I think need to be addressed in 3.0. But if people in your area play that, well, and you want to play, you should play that. Our plan was to actually play DBA here in Florida because nobody wanted to play Triumph, and then go and play Triumph at Historicon. And 2 years in a row, they changed the Triumph rules. They came out with a new version literally a week before Historicon. We had to learn how to play the new version and go up there, So I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it anymore. It might just be coincidence, but it's awfully frustrating to have to relearn how to play their game. And after you relearn how to play their game, you'll have to relearn how to play their game because they came up with the last version, another version a week before the show. So, and that may have been the last time it was a big change, but it was enough to just, nope. Of course, I'm not going to play any other tournaments anyways of any kind, so. Guys don't believe me. I'm not going to play DBA. I'm not. I'm not playing DBA again or anything else. Playing just because I haven't played a miniatures game in years. But the white males needing to get out of the hobby. If there was no white males in the hobby, there wouldn't be anybody in the hobby. I mean, sorry, it's dominated, it's dominated by people. We didn't pick who the hell plays it. That's just who plays it. That's like saying, we don't want any women in Joann's Fabrics. Well, have fun not having any customers. I mean, yeah, you'll have some customers like me when I go in there, but that's the main demographics. We don't want any book club. We don't want women in book clubs. Probably won't be there in many book clubs. We don't all have to be the same. It's okay. You can be equal and yet different. I don't like people that are on a crusade. I don't care what the crusade is. I don't want to hear about the crusade. White males gatekeep and refuse to let anyone else play the game, which is absurd. Most role-playing games, I would say that role-playing games probably have the highest percentage of women in a gaming environment than any other kind. I generally see almost as high as 1 in 3 women playing them. Whatever. Some people are just, I guess their crusade is to pay for the sins of others. That's not mine. I remember there's a big thing on the miniatures page way back when I used to go on it. So like in the early 2000s, they were like making this big to do because there weren't enough women in wargaming, and it's like I'm fine with there being women in the war. But actually, we've had a couple tournaments where we've had a couple of ladies that showed up, and and they did quite well. Unfortunately, they didn't show up again because I don't know what the reason is, but we get new players all the time that never show up again. So that's not necessarily but a problem. But one of them, the last one showed up, actually won a tournament. Good for them. And I think that they were they were a teacher, and they were they were like a coworker of somebody else that was a DBA player, but that person hasn't showed up either. So you can't create interest where there might not be any. What's really good about all this D&D crap, other non-D&D RP are getting recognized. There you go. Most women aren't interested in history. Unfortunately, it's like you're playing historical war games. It's not really a tie in there. I mean, I wish there were. I wish my wife was. We could watch some movies, but she's not. Maybe the next one will be. after that, I'll just go back to living alone. I almost had it mastered. Funny thing, Whisper of the Coast doesn't seem to understand we are not part of their community. They're part of our community and have overstayed their welcome. Yeah. Those are the guys that make magic cards, right? I don't like magic cards to begin with, or I don't like the people that play. I'm sure there's exceptions to everything. Man, I see. There's some annoying folks. I couldn't even get my stuff rung up because they were like trying to cogitating over buying cards. Like, there's nothing to do, man. It's already done for you. All right, then we're gonna put some dark sand on this. How does this compare with this one? Because at some point, I don't know that I need to base this whole thing in black, but we're gonna redo this guy to more modern standards. Let's get the old dark sand. Wish me luck. Trying to find it without. Oh, look at that! First try. I used to play Magic, and the smell is strong with them. Shower on a regular basis like a normal person. Yeah, there's no reason to stink. It's okay to be different types of nerdy. It's fine. I think you should be able to turn it off when you leave the store, but you know, there's sports nerds too. You know, I don't like the N word personally, but I don't like that. I don't like that N word, but you know, that's not the problem. You need to be able to freaking, you know, they make deodorant. They make deodorant everybody's size. You know. It's like you couldn't find a deodorant that fits. I'm blaming that on the parents. I'm blaming that on the parents not slapped the shit out of somebody the first time that they smelled like that. That's unacceptable. Yeah, I come home smelling like I've been outside all day because I have, but my armpits don't smell, you know? The first thing I want to do is shower. We're not really going to get a good idea what this thing looks like until we end up having a crew in there, because the crew is kind of a big part of this thing, because this thing's kind of like devoid of detail anyhow. Reminds you that bathtub water was for sale. So we'll see if we can get over this airbrush hump over the. We're going to give it the last try and see if that's what it is. But it's got to be able to run water through there. And like I said, I used to use one 30 years ago. It's not like I don't have a clue. That's just a POS, you know. Figured it'd be better than that. But we'll just return the damn thing. And then somebody else can airbrush shit, and then somebody else can 3D print stuff. And I'll go back to doing my old 1880s type of painting method, which works just fine. I just didn't want to use rattle cans anymore. Okay, now we just need to force some shadows. Let's get a brush that's a little more detail oriented. But not that one. That's the holy one we use like for crosses. Literally, the one we use is for for the German crosses, even though those are kind of unholy, but I sit back from the table anyway, so it won't bother me. We want to get a 3D printer. Yeah, I don't want to. You know, the whole thing is, let's say I snap my fingers and I got a 3D printer, right? Perfect. Now I can print those 6 A13s I wanted, right? I don't have to worry about buying them. Where do I get the file? Do I get a file that's all right? Is it corrupted? Maybe it doesn't have enough detail. I don't know. It's a whole litany of problems that I don't want to get into. And more importantly, if it's going to cause me frustration, why am I doing it? And I know it will. Like I said, I'll be all excited. Oh, good, I get to paint my E13s this weekend. Come home from work on Friday, and they're fucked up. Or it didn't print, or it started printing and it went sideways, or, you know. Nah, I'll just buy them from somebody when I need to. Somebody makes them. They're about $13 each, and the shipping is $20. So what is it? 6 times. I can't do freaking math. You know, it's going to be like $100 or something like that. And I don't want to keep buying other stuff. Joel says he's ordered from them before, but he orders in big bulk. I don't need that many things at once. What happens to me is if I get too many things to work on, like if I get too many things on this table, I feel overwhelmed. And I feel like I don't know what to do next. And it just totally gets me in a funk. So yeah, I don't need, you know, I've got lots of vehicles to do. They're hidden in the back. I don't need them out here where they're like trying to vie for my attention. I'll end up being like, I'll feel overwhelmed and do none of them. $99, not including tax. What, for a resin printer? That might be. Oh, you talk about the stuff on there? Yeah. I don't want to get one and find out, oh, there's a new one now that makes better ones that are 8K, and I only have the 4K one, and I got plenty of stuff to work on. Oh, so it was off by I don't think we pay tax. It's from the UK. We don't pay tax. What did I say, like $100? Shit, I went over by $1. I'm off the show. It's too late to do math. Estimate it. Yeah, I'm excited. Like these AK paints, they're supposedly spray paintable, like as they are. Like, okay, let's see what they could possibly do. But man, if I can't get water going through there, that's not a good sign. Of course, if I can't return them at Hobby Lobby, I probably ought to just I'll look at it tonight in Amazon one, and then just send everything back to Kohl's. That's that department store that we have here that they take all the Amazon returns for free. Not only is it for free, but you get $5 of their money to spend in their store. I hope they're making money because I like that. As far as department stores go, I like that store. That might be the way to do. Oh, I know why I wasn't going to do it because I've got cash. Got it. Yeah, we'll figure it out. That's something for the weekend. That's why people are like, "Oh man, you hand painted those numbers? Yeah, shit's easy. That works every time, you know." I'm the weakest link. You have basic Elegoo Mars 135. Oh, I got a couple of videos that somebody posted on Facebook of how they did some 1/72nd scale buildings, and I haven't even looked at it yet. I've got some buildings already due out of resin, so we will do them before we get any other stuff. I'm tired of buying shit and not doing anything with it. That's not very satisfying. Endeavored to paint my mountain of shame, and it's gotten like 90% of that done. Or get rid of it, you know? But buying stuff, and we've all done it. We've all bought stuff and not done anything with it. And it's really unsatisfying. And it doesn't matter how much money you have or how much money you make. Just the idea of it is really unsatisfying. You know, and it's wasteful. You know, you could have bought something else you were going to do something with. It's not to not buy things. It's, use what you have or get rid of it. So I always laugh when people can, They're able to do 3D printing and stuff like that, but they can't paint fig miniatures. I'm like, this is easy. I was on the phone today and I was sketching out a T-34 and I was just kind of doodling around as I just got done doing these four. So I know where all the lines are and everything. And I'm like, that's pretty freaking good. I mean, I was just kind of doodling and I'm like, but I can't play any instruments, you know. I'm artsy. I'm that kind of artsy. I would hate to pay for a file and then you find out it sucks. You know, I don't know exactly how that works. I don't know how difficult it would be to make your own files. I mean, the information's out there. I used to do drafting, you know, but there's people that are better at that than I'm ever going to be. You need to focus on what you're good at. All right, we got some runaway black stuff that happened here. So I think I'm going to try to use this. There's some spots that should be covered and they're not, and they're hard to find, but I see them, so I don't want to wake up with a crick in my neck. So let me see if I can deal with them. It's not very much. Okay, where do we see the other one? From over here. And I normally probably would have painted this bottom and then put the sides on, but I needed to attach this gun to something. So it's really not that big of a problem. It's more of a problem had I not attached the gun. Yeah, I think that solves. I see you. I see you right there. Can we access it from here better? Maybe. Damn. It's not that bad. Yeah, I just don't want to find out it's not the best one you can have. I mean, the people I was going to order it from was that, what's it called, Battlefield 3D. Their stuff looks pretty good. And Joel's actually bought some of the stuff in 15 millimeter. And I asked him, I said, can you see the lines? He says, sometimes. I said, I want to see them in the flesh. Just so I can make my own judgment. But it's nothing I got to act on anytime soon. I get entertained just looking and seeing who makes stuff and who, if I got it, who would I get it from, and the thrill of the chase, so to speak. Okay, I think we got everything that we need there. It's nothing I'm out of drink. All right, I'll be right back. Etsy. Etsy sells them. 1,000 milliliters. So a liter. That's about this, right? This is about a liter. No, this is half of a liter. 500 milliliters. Seems pretty cheap. 34 bucks. You know, I don't mind. For me, it's the price of shipping. I don't mind spending $13 on a tank. That seems about right. I just don't want to spend $20 shipping them. Because the reality is I want to get one and see what it looks like. You know. The alternative is you buy the S model kits. They're about $10 a piece, maybe a little bit less. But the conversion kit costs 13 quid plus exchange rate plus shipping for the conversion kit. You know. You know, I got a guy locally here that said, "Hey, I'll print some stuff for you." But then I'm like, okay, what if he gets the wrong program? He gets it just becomes too much of somebody can miss the pass. And like I said, it just turns into, adding frustration to my hobby that's supposed to be frustration free. So, because I'm kind of particular with my time. I mean, I'm spending a lot of time doing this. I want it to look good. I mean, I don't mind paying junky things I already have because I already have them. But if I'm going to get something new, I want it to look good. If I don't look good, you don't look good. Remember that one? Sometimes when you buy a 3D model, it comes pre-supported, which makes it like plug and print. Not a whole lot more to do on this thing. On the basic color part of it. I'm gonna paint the seats or whatever. I had this brass wire here for a long time. Never did anything with it because I was going to use it for spears way back when, before I decided to go with needles and pins. And it had been sitting here forever, always in my way. Now I'm like, oh, I'll go ahead and make this little bent thing, because you see some versions of this that almost have like a bent. It comes up, goes across and comes back down, almost like a clothesline or whatever. And I'm sure it's some kind of function where you can put a tarp over here so that it's raining. You're not stuck in the elements. Maybe even if it's just during transport. But it'd be nice to have that little thing because it adds a little something. Can't find the brass stuff. So well, I'm not buying a whole package of them. So I guess this one won't have it. The kit didn't have it. I just figured it'd be a nice thing to do something with something I had. So. Three Kingdoms Reddit page. I didn't know there was a Three Kingdoms Reddit page. The gloves are annoying, I will tell you that, so get some reusable ones. Where is that from? I recognize that, but can't place it. What did I say? forgot what it was that I said. Oh, Vidal Sassoon. If you don't look good, we don't look good. Yeah. Come on, shampoo products. Oh, you weren't around in the 80s, sorry. Yep. Back when they had to have commercials on TV that weren't just, medicine to ask your doctor about. They don't even tell you what it's about. Yeah, I'll ask my doctor, hey, what about this stuff? Oh, that's for, that's for a yeast infection. Why are you asking me about that? Well, the commercial didn't tell me what it was for. All right, we got to look at pictures of this ugly duckling, which I didn't do that today. You're around in the 80s. Well, that doesn't count. That means when you were out of the 80s, you were 7. So that would be, yeah. Yeah, I was born in 71, but I don't consider myself from the 70s because I don't remember anything about them. Hardly anything about the 70s. Thank goodness, because people wore some messed up things back then. Go listen to any music from the 70s and see what they're wearing while they're singing it. Not good. It's not a good look for you. Let's do a search for this ugly duckling. Marder IID. God, this thing's ugly. I think it's ugly. And it looks even worse with a yellow camouflage. I think it looks better in gray. Gray or winter. Let's see. We're going to put a number on it. I think. That'll add something to it. That one has 214 on it, but in the snow. What do these decals have for it? Star decals. What do you got? What do you guys got for me? What do you guys got for me? Early type. Panzer Group Hoth, November 42. Okay, that's the relief column that's the relief of Stalingrad. Possible HG unit. That's got to be Hermann Goering. Unknown unit, Stalingrad area, 1942. This is a bunch of extra stuff on it. Mud camo. Okay, so they pretty much all have the German cross in the middle of the superstructure, even with this. Kind of. Yeah, this thing looks like ass in Dunkelgelb. Even worse, in my opinion. Okay, what does this have? Does this have a number on it or it had a letter on it? A letter L, there's an M. A 2, a 4 in black? Really? Okay. Well, I might just put a little cross on there. That should be easy to fit in there. All right, let's go take a look here. Let's go back to this. All right, let's go look at my German decals. I'm sure that just about any cross will work on there. And see what we have. Because we got T34 and we can work on while this gloss is drying, which doesn't take very long to dry. Alright, I moved this stuff attempting to clean this area up, and I did myself a disservice. There's the Soviet ones. Let's get all this shit out of the way. I wish this couch wasn't here, then it couldn't catch anything. Right now it's like a catch-all. Alright. Alberto Martin Bartolome. Welcome. Man, it's early there. You like waking up at like the time I wake up. Excellent. All right. Let's see if we got some German crosses for this ugly. I do have some. I just, I can't believe these decals for the Flammpanzer work. They're older than dirt. Let's pull some of these things out and we'll look at them. We don't want to use any of these numbers. Those are too good. These crosses are huge. These are for the Hanomag. All right, we'll leave them for the Hanomag. We'll get there eventually. Oh, because this has a set for the 48 scale stuff too. I think. All right, we're looking for like these down here. Okay, so that's a candidate. I'd rather not use those nice ones if I can get away with it. Try to use the ones that are a little crummier first. Been sitting around for a while. There's the ones from Fujimi. That's a 251. I still have one of those to do, so we'll save that for that. What's this? German reconnaissance set. No, there's only one cross left there. All right. What's this? The one that came with the Panzer IVs? Okay, well, we got that other Panzerjäger to do. We might want to use the same type of cross for it. Just looking at what all my options are before I jump. That one to do as well. I'm going to do German half-tracks soon here. The only thing I don't like about these German half-tracks in gray is they have a tendency to not have numbers. They didn't start putting half-tracks on they didn't start putting numbers on German half-tracks until the D version of them, it seems like. That's what the photographic evidence. I mean, there are examples of some, but by and large, it wasn't until you get into like the Normandy time period that you start seeing German half-tracks with numbers on them. So we'll leave this one for that. We got numbers to do. Man, I'm just like overwhelmed, indecisive. Okay, nothing there. We're not going to use these because these are for the Hanomag, which I have to do, and I still didn't. Oh, this has got Africa Corps stuff. Oh, it's good. No swastikas on there. Okay. Seems like all of them have the black center. So let's do black center. We have this Hanomag to do. We won't use them. This doesn't have any crosses on there. That doesn't have any crosses on there. This has a set, but then I can't put them on the Marder exactly the same, so we won't use them. That has none of them on here. This has none. This has none. This has from the Jagdpanzer IV. We haven't built it yet. I mean, we've built it. We haven't done it yet. I'm actually looking forward to doing that one. That's a cute vehicle in my opinion. So what are we down to? We're down to using these. I'm going to put. I'm going to use these right here. And I don't think I'm going to put a number on them. I could paint one on later if I feel like it. What did I say I was going to use and then put them away? I could paint them too, but they're kind of in the middle of an open space, so they're a little more challenging to do that. All right, let's get a paintbrush that we're going to put this gloss stuff with on. Pledge Floor Care. It's that I like role-playing games and war games. I haven't played a role-playing game since 1985. Although I'm going to play my role-playing game, my World War II game, similar to a role-playing game. Similar-ish. So is there enough in here? Probably. Doesn't have to be very thick. Right here in the middle. Right here in the middle there. I am going to put a number. Just made an executive decision. And we're going to put a cross back here in the back too. Why? Felt like it. All right, let's get us some water. In a little container. Can I use distilled water? Nah, we'll save it. Be right back. This is going to come up soon. I'm getting ahead of myself. I haven't even painted this stuff in black. The road wheels and such. Let's get us some of that color. Well, that's overkill. Shit happens. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and get a fresh start on everything. Let's see. We were using, I think this one. I want it to be a little larger than. I'm not even gonna use the wet palette for this. This stuff should slide on here real well. Anything black here? The jack. Barnes, hi, welcome back. And then we've got some snips here. And oh, we got stuff on the back. We got that's all metallic. Every vehicle has a shovel. Might find yourself in a situation you got to dig yourself out of. And that's it, except the road wheels. So let's do the road wheels, which, hell, it shouldn't take long. And then we'll do the track. And then certainly these spots where we're going to put the decals are going to be plenty dry by then. This weekend we can certainly start working on the crew. It fits in here. Probably just going to glue them in place. I always thought if I had plenty of time, one thing that'd be pretty cool is take guys and put like a rare earth magnet in their foot, and then find out where they go and put a rare earth magnet in that location, and then patch over it, and that way you can put them in that place. But that seems like a pain in the ass. Rubicon. Those look really good. Too bad they're a scale I don't do, but they seem like they have lots of versions of the same vehicle. Like, you buy one and you can make lots of different vehicles out of the set. That's pretty cool. And they're relatively new. I hadn't heard about them until recently. So maybe we'll have a cool weekend that we have a positive airbrush experience, or either way, at least I'll find out. I don't even want to hear the word airbrush anymore. It's just never going to work for me. In prices, sure. In detail, I do not know. Maybe one more drop of this stuff right here. Somebody was telling me, my contact from Australia was telling me that the UK is not shipping things internationally again. Did something happen in the last couple days or something? I don't really pay attention to the news. They were asking to see if there was a U.S. distributor for something, and I told them, no, unfortunately there isn't. Okay, let's attack this from this angle. Well, we need some lighting. Not read anything? Well, I hope it doesn't happen. Or I'm never going to get that playmat situation resolved. That's getting to be real annoying. All right, we need to get black-brown. You do the tracks. Color should be called Old Rust. That's basically what it is. I was reading the Cursed book, or having a Cursed book read to me, and a quote came up talking about quotes that, according to the book, was attributed to Paul Hauser. Paul Hauser is the commander of the 2nd SS Panzer Corps. He was an SS tank commander that had one eye, had an eye patch on him. And getting close to pushing in on Prokhorovka. And he gave his troops the message, according to this book, Klockten nicht kleckern. And the author's translation of it is, stomp them, don't tickle them. So I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I had a friend of mine who mentioned that. I'd heard that saying before, but his translation meant something different, so maybe he had it wrong, but Klotzen nicht kleckern. I think that's what he called them. Stomp them, don't tickle them. Paintings by Vallejo, Son from Spain. I don't know what you're getting at there. Most of the paint I have Vallejo is, and I have some AK that are also Spanish. And I got some of the Army Painter stuff, which is made in Denmark. Or at least the label says it is. I just don't know what the difference is. Is it ammo? Is it ammo by MiG? How does AK fit into that? Is it all under the AK thing? I'm confused. You know, I'm confused when I look for things from that manufacturer. Yeah, see, I don't care that this is not going super fast. Every time I do something, I'm moving towards that goal, one step closer. Not, do this for an hour and a half and you don't have anything to show for it. And you're frustrated. I think that takes care of everything in that color. We have some seats to do, but we'll do them last, because I don't want any of the dry brushing on them. We'll make them look like somebody's been sitting their hiney in it. All right, let's move this out of the way so we don't accidentally get it on something we don't want it to. And where are the Balkenkreuzes? Yeah, I don't know that I really like these because they've got the... F it. If I run out and I need more, I'll just get more from... I just don't want to paint these because they're in the middle of nowhere. We need 3. Oh, this is an old X-Acto knife. Well, it'll just have to deal with it. But I do want to have an airbrush. That I can shop at that place called Spray Gunner. They have a lot of cool stuff, and their prices are actually really good. And they're kind of local. They're 2 hours away from me. I've gotten stuff from them before, but new Hogwarts game. What new Hogwarts game? I would not be a candidate to play the Hogwarts game because, let's see, I tried to watch the first movie twice, and I think my record is like 17 and a half minutes making it through before I couldn't take it anymore. So I would not be a candidate to go on that. I'll do the Hogwarts rides at Universal, but that motorcycle ride's pretty freaking cool. Hagrid's? Hogwarts Legacy. I never play magic users. If I play a fantasy game, I always play humans. Not a huge fan of magic users. Honestly, you know what I like to play? I like playing bow bitches. No, but only because I'm not a Harry Potter fan, not up for those made-up reasons. Yeah. What is it? March, April, May, June. 4 more months. Diablo 4 comes out, supposedly. We'll be doing some couch co-op with the wife on that one. Trying to get her to appreciate ranged characters. I play everybody, but I particularly like to play ones that you have to play keep away. It's kind of an interesting challenge. not other made-up reasons. I sueño. Yeah, it's super early where you're at. What was it that you said about paintings by Vallejo? Oh, song from Spain. They are from Spain. Got it. Yep, all my paint's Spanish. Or most of my paint is Spanish. I wish Vallejo had not reformulated some of their stuff, because, man, I'm having some trouble figuring stuff out sometimes, but I did a comparison with the old colors and the new ones, and it looks like they didn't change much. Let's get the vinegar stuff out. Nope, that's microwelled, not that one. We need the blue. And microset. Okay. It's funny. You know what I haven't heard anybody talk about? The new Game of Thrones. I have not heard anyone talk about that. The old one, honestly, I used to watch it because everybody was watching. There was somebody to talk to about it, but I think everybody hated the ending of the other one so much that no one I know is watching it. Study law. Ooh, better you than me. Well, I could speak in Spanish. The problem is that I've never been to school in it, so my vocabulary is extremely lacking. And war games have a lot of like technical words, and I just don't know what they are. But my Spanish conversation basically has to do with what I would talk to mom and dad about. That's it. That's who I use it with. Well, my wife's in the same boat that I'm in. We just don't speak Spanish to each other because it's not our first language. But I never spoke English in the home growing up. It'd be weird to speak to my parents in English. I would just be like, ¿Qué carajo estás haciendo? Just leave them alone. Let's see if there's any numbers that aren't too important. I could put a couple of numbers on here. And I can chop up another decal if I need to. There's some sixes that I don't need, but they're red. One white six. That's not going to cut it. I was, just some words, I don't know. Like, for instance, how do you say, crossbowman in Spanish? And I asked somebody, and they told me it's a word that's like this long. I'm like, I've never heard that word in my life. So I could like read it in a sentence, and I wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about. I'd have to by deduction, try to figure out what it is. Those are all red. You don't want that. These are all tiny. We'll leave those alone. There's specific uses for those. YouTube is having trouble today. It's actually been running pretty good for me lately, but there was a time a couple months ago where it was just seemed like it was glitchy. And I hate when things work fine and then all of a sudden they don't stop working, like I'm doing something different. I'm not. I'm too lazy to do something different. Just letting it roll. Oh, what happened to those SU ones? I had those SU ones that... Oh, that was an 8. I think that was an 8. I think that's what that was. It's not that one. That's what it was. It was the 8. It's in black. It's going to be hardly noticeable. I want them in white. These are from the Panther set. What do we got here? We have 1 white 6. That's not going to cut it. Okay. Maybe we'll paint it. We'll paint the next couple days. I don't see anything here that's jumping out at me, wanting me to put it on the vehicle. Good riddance to Twitter. Twitter's a pain in the ass. All kinds of things get recommended to you that you're not even interested in. It's just like extra spam. Extra spam. Well, we got to do weathering on this thing. I don't know if this thing is set well enough to weather over it. Yeah, you see how that's glossy? That'll go away. And I just end up after I'll end up like hand brushing the thick lacquer on it. It totally makes it flat. So you just X out of my browser. I need a new mouse. This is getting annoying. Yep. This one that my wife let me use is excellent. It's a Microsoft, and it's really small, and it folds like this, and you can use it with I like this thing a lot. It's handy. I don't like the little pads that you want here, so. Okay, no headlights because it has those blockers for it. Now, let's just set this off to the side and paint some T34s because, oh shit, how did it get to be that late? Whoops. Whoopsk. Yo pienso lo mismo. Okay. Yo no sé de qué es. No sé de qué estabas hablando. But... Oh. Can you put model kits in Spain that have swastikas on them, or they freak out? I don't want to do it on the internet because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I think you can do it in Spain. England's okay. Model kits. It's, Germany, obviously, and I understand why you wouldn't do it there. It's not like you're bringing these little swastika flags to like some white power rally. They're just on there. I don't know what to do with this thing. I don't know whether to paint it black and start over, or I don't know what to do. I'm on the fence about it, which is why I haven't done anything with it. So I'll kick it down the road again. Florida fue española. Yep. La Florida. Yep. That's why it has the St. Andrew's cross. Right? Is it St. Andrew's? I think so. Okay. T-34 time. No more Nazis. Let's do some commie bastards. I need to go ahead and drill out the spot for the machine guns. This is probably the time to do that now, because I hadn't done that yet. Do any of these have a tip on them? I bet they don't. I bet every single one of these is broken off. That's why I'm actually afraid of buying the aftermarket ones. Oh, we got one here. We got a live one. I'm afraid they're going to break off too easy. Yeah, is this up in this thing? All right. Where is the drill bit? That's the size we want to use. Okay. So we're going to put a little piece of sprue and put the DT machine gun hole in there. We want to make sure they have this somewhat centered. Put a little divot there. This is why I prefer the plastic models. It's so much easier to do stuff like this. I mean, we could do a whole show in Spanish. The problem is most people won't understand. And I would be doing a lot. ¿Cómo se dice? Actually, I wouldn't say "como se dice." I'd be like, "What's the word for?" Like I said, it's a vocabulary. It's a vocabulary problem for me. And I've never been to school in Spanish, so I'm like an uneducated person in that language. Suddenly. I would say suddenly, I would call it de buenas a primeras. That's how I would say it. If I had to say suddenly, that's how I would say it, because I don't know any better. I don't know any better. And like I said, I have limited vocabulary. De buenas a primera. Alright, that one's done. Put the turret along with them. Carry them along. What's this one here? Pensacola. I've only been there one time. I've been to San Agustin many, many times. And that is... what's his name? Oh, shit. Well, you know, you forget because it's stuff you don't think about. If I was wargaming that period, and I would like to do game 1500s. Aviles, whatever his name is. I can't remember what his name is. He's on my picture, damn it. Here he is. Or somebody's rendition of him. Here he is. Can't remember what his name is. Battle of Pensacola. Yeah, I'm not interested in Spanish. I'm not interested in Spanish history after they had a French king. I like the war game my ancestors when they were when they had Habsburg kings and had a chance to win some battles. Yeah. That's a little too late. I'd love to do like 80 Years' War and stuff like that. But we can't do everything. I can't remember. I forgot what his name is. Shame on me. There's a guy that used to do commercials for St. Augustine. He would dress up like a Menendez. Pedro Menendez de Avilés. And he would dress up like him. And he did some funny commercials. And I think he was an American, but I think way back he had some Spanish blood in him, but Pedro Menendez de Avilés. Supposedly, we're finally going to get to go to Spain. I've never been to Europe. It's just too darn far away, and it takes too many days vacation in a row to do that. So supposedly, I'm not going to brag about it too much because, then ever since the traveling now is just totally random whether or not you get to go and do stuff. You can't remember, but do you have troops suitable for the Reconquista? I do. I have the first army I built was for El Cid. It's funny. Tony says single words in loose Spanish. In a caento better than mine. I don't know what a caento is. Words in loose Spanish. Yeah. We speak that bastardized. Well, my mom and dad came from Cuba in 1960. So I only spoke Spanish with them. And I understand my great-grandfathers both came from Spain. One of them was a colonel in the Spanish army. That's all I know. That's would have been, I guess, in the 1880s or something like that. But that's all I know. I laugh a lot with this meeting, a bit sub-relisted, study at the same time. Oh man, sorry about you studying. I would rather do just about anything other than estudiando. Yo no quiero estar estudiando. Not a fan. Okay, so that's drilled out. Let's get a new shim out here. I've been using those. I really don't need a wet palette for what I'm doing with dry brushing. You end up having to dry stuff out anyway. So. Yeah, it's early over there. It's like 6 in the morning. He took 5 semesters of Spanish university, but unfortunately things didn't stick. And they don't teach foreign languages the way they should. They should teach foreign languages like you get dropped out of a plane over Panama or somewhere, and you have to talk your way out. So it should be for conversation, not conjugating this. Like, dude, that they just teach the wrong thing. You're never gonna write a poem in another language that's not your own. People don't need to know that, but they need to, like, how to go to the bathroom, how to have a conversation with somebody. They don't do that. They do it all back assward. And no wonder you don't remember it, because you don't use it, because it's not very useful. That's what she said. Good drilling. That's right. I remember that from the 80s, and I guess it was on The Office. I guess whatchamacallit on The Office used to say it all the time, but since I didn't watch really The Office, this seems like a movie. Don't yell at me. I don't see you. No me grites. No te veo. Oh, man. All right. Russian green. Still code 894. It's just called something else now. No me grites que no te veo. I need to be immersed in a language where I am just talking. The conjugating stuff is really hard, and it's stupid. You're never gonna get, you're never gonna get it. It's more important to, like, get the pronunciation right, and conjugating. Yeah. And what I really can't understand is Portuguese. I mean, if it's written down, yes, but spoken, Italian makes more sense to me than Portuguese. Okay. We're just going to go over these bastards with this Russian green. Conjuring would be more useful, actually. Man, these are really heavy vehicles. They fall on your foot, you got problems. Keep them around Barefoot Mitch. Keep them away from them. All four of these are Skytrex miniatures, T-34 model 1942s, which I came across a decal set of these before Stalingrad. I didn't think these were common in 1942. Even though it was a model 1942, they really were more common in 43. They're the Mickey Mouse type turrets, so when these two little hatches open up, they open forward like this, and German soldiers would call them Mickey Mouse because it looked like Mickey Mouse, I guess, to them. Uh-oh. The film was translated. It's about one man who's blind and the other deaf. And it's Oh, okay. So you're talking about... Okay, I know what movie that is. That's See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor from like... What is that? 1987 or something like that? Yeah, I think I've seen it. Yeah. I don't mind watching foreign movies, but I don't like them. I don't like las películas dobladas, so I don't like them with the dubbed. I don't mind. I don't mind reading subtitles, but sometimes even if it's in Spanish, man, they just speak way too fast for me. Like I was trying to read, there's a series in Spanish that my mom and my brother really like. That's called La Casa de Papel. And I started watching it, and I've got to watch it with subtitles because it is so freaking fast. And they got a couple characters that just do not speak well. Just like, you think, oh, okay, it's in English, right? It's in England. They invented the freaking language. Everybody in England should speak well. No. No, there's people, and I can't understand what the hell they're saying. Just like there's people here that in this country I can't understand what they're saying. Dry brush with green Russian uniform. Green? No, it's not Russian uniform. It's Verde Russo, 894. No es el uniforme ruso. That's a different color. Es el verde ruso. Y ahora se llama algo diferente. Se llama... the new name of it is... Camuflaje Verde Oliva is the new 894. It's still 894. But it's called something different. And... it's almost the same color. Where's my little 3x5 card? Well, it's here somewhere. It's almost the same color. I don't know why they reformulated it. Yeah, and I dry brush this because, first of all, it's quicker. It doesn't leave brush strokes. And it leaves you black in the crevices, which is what I like. It's like you get a free pin wash out of it. So we're going to do this. Then we're going to do an Agrax Earthshade wash over it. Let that dry, and then we'll dry brush this again. We'll add a little bit of dark sand to this color, dry brush it again, and then add a little bit more dark sand to that, and we'll pick out some details before we do the dry brushing for the weathering. And that works pretty well for me. I'm happy with the results of that. They look like what I want them to look like. Yes, they dubbed the movies. We have this hateful mania. Yeah, I don't like the movies dubbed. Have you seen that series? Here it's called House. Is it called House of Paper? I think it's called House of Paper. It's on Netflix. It's multiple series, miniseries. It's like a heist movie. It's like basically a heist movie that goes sideways, and almost it would seem like it'd be like a Tarantino thing, except it's not. It's not done in the middle and done that way, but I don't mind foreign movies because it's the quality of the stuff is just fine. Maybe many years ago, foreign stuff wasn't up to par, but the foreign stuff just as good. La Casa de Papel, I know what it is. Girl named Ursula Correro, which is very well. Ya sabía que era un verde. Yeah. Well, they have a character on Casa de Papel, and they're all named after, because it's kind of done like unanimous. Like they're all like on this heist, but they don't know who each other are, and they're not supposed to like not fraternize with each other or get too comfortable, so they don't give away their identity. And they're all named after. Everybody has a city that they're named after. It's like one of the characters, his name was Moscow, and he speaks with an accent that I don't know what the hell he's saying. And just like if there's some heavy accents here that I'm sure people can't pick out. And there's some accents in the UK that I am dumbfounded with what the hell they're trying to say. So, I'm sure that happens in every country. Okay. Now, the ones with the two commanders. Man, this thing is heavy. And it has a rough finish in different places. It's kind of grainy-ish. So we're going to attempt to finish all T34s, painting them green, basic. Remember how it was gluing this the other night? Look at the front of this. Look how it didn't glue straight on this one because it's barely holding on by very few points. So I'm gonna leave that alone. It's just gonna be crick-crocked a little bit. I have to go fix the suspension when they get back to for repairs. I think population is doubling here this week. Oh, because you got the Super Bowl there. Does anybody care about that anymore? Anybody care about those prima donnas? don't even know who's playing. Eagles and somebody else. I don't play fantasy football or none of that stuff. I like the Madden games. I used to play those. Those can be fun. You're participating. Do I ever use airbrush? Oh, man. I was talking about that earlier. I just got one in today, and I'm going to send it back because it's a piece of crap. Let's see. So, we're going to try to get... The compressor seems to be just fine. But the airbrush is basically a piece of garbage. Like, it wouldn't even spray water. So, I would just use the airbrush just to prime and seal. I would still do all this the same. Maybe if I did like, snow camo or something like that, maybe I could tinker with that. But it's going to be a long time. If I got an airbrush at work, it's going to be a long time before I develop some skills that are even close to this that I've done for 35 years. Give me a brush. I can make things shine with a brush for sure. Waste Management golf tournament as well. Plus, they disrespected national anthem, so screw them. What compressor did I get? I got the little, whatever that silly ass Masters thing is. And it's got a compressor with a tank, and it's like $160. And it came with an airbrush, which is like a $20 airbrush. If I buy the compressor by itself, it's still $160. I think the compressor is just fine. It has adjustable pressure on it. So I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby and get an Iwata airbrush. So something that's good. And see if it works right off the bat. This one didn't work right off the bat. And if it doesn't work right off the bat, then I'm just gonna I'm done. I'm done. I'm not gonna have anything to do with an airbrush ever again. Like I said, I wouldn't have anything to do with an airbrush, but man, the rattle cans and the smell is really killing me. Well, I could just be sealing in acrylic. I don't need to be using these toxic fume stuff. That is all sputtering. I get halfway through the can and it's like not usable anymore. You could hold it upside down to clear it. It's just so thick and nasty. Favorite faction in bolt action? I've never played bolt action. I am not a bolt action person. And I like everybody. I like all the World War II stuff. Except the Pacific. I'm not a Pacific person. Not a fan. So I like the Eastern Front. Let's see if I can translate that. Yo no juego Bolt Action. Nunca lo he jugado. No tiene el detalle que a mí me gusta para las cosas de la Segunda Guerra Mundial. Y yo prefiero un juego que tiene más detalle y es más granular. And a mí me gusta el frente ruso de la Segunda Guerra Mundial. There we go. And if I wrote it out, I'd be able to speak less, because it's just words that just don't come to mind. I don't think in Spanish. I don't think. So, won't use rattle cans for health. They smell like they're terrible now. They're terrible now. Your neck of the woods is not a great place to use rattle cans to begin with. The rules for bolt action is fine. It's the stupid army list and a tournament scene to make the game just not good. I'm not going to play a tournament again. I'm gonna do this. If I play this, I'm gonna play this here. I may solo it, which is fine. You guys, I'll do videos on it. You know, I don't care to win as much as I want the narrative. Like, you know, crazy shit that happens and you get to experience it, you know? I'll paint all the stuff, it'll look awesome. That's my goal. I want to play a World War II game that looks like the stuff you see in magazines, you know? Not using felt for crap, you know? But there's a couple of videos that came out just today that I saw them, and I think I saved them on Facebook. I think I saw them through Facebook, and it was a guy. I'm trying to think what country he was in. Somewhere in Europe. I forget. It just came out today, and it was like how to do like these dioramas of like these destroyed factories and stuff like that. And I saved that because that's my fear. Like I was afraid of doing vehicles and not being happy with how they turned out, and that's not a problem. I'm very happy with how these guys turn out. And you know, but just trying to avoid getting into analysis paralysis where you don't do anything. You're so worried about making a mistake and not being able to fix it that you just never take the leap. You know. So, gracias. Sounds like your local hobby stores don't do much. They don't do shit. Yeah, there's nothing historical here. There is nothing historical here. And I don't like most gamers. Most gamers are excruciatingly weird. I'm not talking about nerdy, just freaking freaks. You know? It's like, you know, what do you do for a living? Oh, I don't have a job. What do you, geez, man. What do you do all day? Have your mom take care of you? Must be nice. I wish I could sit around and play video games all day or whatever. I didn't. I've been working since I was 16 every day. Local hobby store. What's that exactly? Gracias. As I like to respond, de nalgas. Oh, man. We went to a Spanish restaurant in New York. They have this little place in New York that, what's it called? Hudson Yards or something like that. And they had this Spanish beer that was so freaking perb. I prefer to paint the miniatures to play. Many brands, Foundry, Perry, Empress Miniatures. Oh, okay. I would rather paint. Yo prefiero pintar, pero yo pinto en esta escala. 20 milímetros. I just always have. I've always done 20 mil. And I ain't changing. If I had to do it again, I'd still do 20 mil. If I couldn't do 20 mil, I would do 15s. I would do 15s and do individual basing. That's one thing we have a bunch here. No one likes historical, however. What did I find out? There's a huge place in Kevin. There's a huge place in Arizona that I just found out about, and I was going to ask you if you knew about them, and I can't think of who it is. And it's not Monument Hobbies. Although I think Monument Hobbies is out of Arizona. It was some other place, and it was like a legit store. And I'm like, oh, that must be nice to have one of those there. But it might be one of those that they don't have anything in stock. So, God, what was the name of that place? And I thought about it the other day. I'm like, oh, I'm going to ask Kevin about it. I should have written down what it was. I can't think who it was. I bet it was Model Kits. I bet it was somebody that had a ton of model kits. No, there's a big name place. It's in Arizona. Let me see. Let me do a quick search. Let me see. Déjame ver. Hobby stores in Arizona. Okay, so let's see. I am one with the Google foo. Model kit store Arizona. Oh, you know what? It's this guy that has videos called Andy's Hobby Headquarters. I believe that's what the place is. It's in Glendale. You ever been there? That's why I was. He was doing some videos I came across, and I'm like, oh, and this guy's had like a backdrop, like a bunch of stuff on there. Glendale, Arizona, Andy's Hobby Headquarters. Ever been there? Might be your local shop. Joder, que bien hablas castellano. Well, you know, the pronunciation isn't a problem. It's the lack of vocabulary. No tengo vocabulario ninguno. Nunca he ido a la escuela. And I just speak with mom and dad. So, you know. You never been there? And yeah, Glendale. I don't know if that's anywhere near you. Go check him out. He has a bunch of videos on YouTube. Check him out. I ordered a book from Spain many years ago, and it was a piece of shit. They're around here somewhere. Because when I was working on my first army, and it's not a piece of shit because it was from Spanish. It's this one. There's actually lots of good stuff in Spanish. I just, I can read it. I just, I end up having it. Big words like words they use on the news and stuff like that. I have to look them up because they're just not in my normal vocabulary. This one. I got this before I was working on my first one. This cost a fortune. Guerreros de la Reconquista. And it sucks because the artist in here sucks. I don't know whether it's Luis Gravados Gonzalez or Antonio Manzano Lajos. But one of those two can't draw worth a damn. Well, I don't enjoy their style. But, they're just not very... They're not very inspiring. But this is like a $50 book, and it costs like $50 to get it over here. And I don't know, the style is obviously better than I can do because I can't draw, but I don't want an army with those jackass looking guys in it. They don't inspire fear. Look at this guy. Ooh, mean guy. Anyhow, espadado. Look at this guy. Lame. Look at this guy. Oh, this is a classic. This is like Spanish Mario Brothers. Peón. El personaje iluminado aleatoriamente. See, I don't know what that means. Yo no sé lo que quiere decir eso. It's a big word. Está tomado de un capitel del monasterio de Santa María de Real de Aguilar. Oh, look, my people. Del Campo, Palencia. Actualmente en el Museo Arqueológico Nacional solo posee esta espada sin vaina, en la que pueden apreciarse unos rebajes semicirculares, y con la que sin escudo ni casco y solo protección de su manto arrollado en el brazo izquierdo, va a enfrentarse al enemigo con la decisión inquebrantable. See, I don't know what that word means. Confianza en la victoria que brillan en sus ojos. I can read it, I just don't know some vocabulary. Look at this badass. Get out of here, I'm gonna throw shit at you. Look at this candy ass. Un cara de come mierda. Anyway, so it wasn't inspiring. I got it inspiring and it didn't do anything for me, you know? So here I'm stuck with it. Now, a book that is inspiring. Again, I pulled it out, can't put it back in. Got a field day with that one. Is this. This guy knows how to freaking draw. Mr. Ian Heath. You guys should know who Ian Heath is. Ian Heath is awesome. And this particular one is Armies of the 16th Century. That one looks like Rick. Poor Rick. And you've got all kinds of stuff on here like Dutch and... Why is it so blurry? And there's a lot of stuff. These are expensive books too. These are awesome books though. They put my people all the way in the back. Damn it. No, that's why I say my ancestors didn't wear freaking skirts, they wore pantyhose. Hey, gotta stay warm. These are excellent books. Yes, Valencia. Is that one of the places that we're going on the cruise? It may be. I don't know if we're going to Valencia or not. Actually, we're going to Malaga. These books are excellent. So, and I also have the one that's the Conquest of the New World one, which has some really interesting things, along with all the native stuff. That's even thicker. What's this one called? These are actually foundry books. Armies of the 16th century, armies of the Aztec, Inca empires, other native peoples of the Americas, and the conquistadors. Los conquistadores. And again, they put all my people all the way in the back. Sons of bitches. I want to show you something on here, which is pretty cool. War dogs. Armored war dogs. No, no conozco. Nunca he ido a España. Este año que viene se supone que vamos a tomar un crucero que va en el Mediterráneo, entra en Venecia, da la vuelta a Italia y va en 4 lugares en España. va a Málaga, Córdoba, Cádiz y las Islas Baleares. Si es que vamos, we'll see. We'll see if we go. Goes to Malta too. I don't want to brag about it though. I mean, we almost didn't go on the cruise last year because they pulled a fast one on us. So it's kind of hard to get excited about vacation when they can just say, "Oh, you don't go on the ship for whatever reason." Yeah, I've seen those 28 millimeter Atlantic. I've got 15 millimeter ones from Tin Soldier, Conquistadores, and they look awesome. I put chainmail on my Chihuahua. Yo quiero Taco Bell. What's your Chihuahua's name? If I had a Chihuahua, I wouldn't be able to stand it. I'm not a dog person, but if you're going to have a dog, it needs to shit bigger than you. You know? Say a Chihuahua. What would you name a Chihuahua? Come up with something good. Pookie? Nah, it's got to be some kind of a Mexican name. It doesn't work if it's not a Mexican name. He no work. All right, this thing's dry enough. Let's dry brush this bitch. What's after 11? Oh well. I don't give a shit. I'm having fun. Dun, 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 dun. Beige brown. I'm finding every color except the one I want. U.S. Field Drab. There you go. El bandito poquito. Chiquitín. Nope, you missed the big what the fuck Christmas sale. What else could WF be? Chiriquitín. All right, let's put some of this on here. And I probably should just put it on one of these. But it's late. I'm not thinking. None of this sticky. Perfect. Let's get... We need something bigger than that. Si vienes a España, te recomiendo todos estos sitios. Yep, it's going to be one day in each place, basically. It's like 11 ports or something like that. Starts in Venice, goes all the way around the northern part of the Mediterranean, and ends in Lisbon. Dirty Nazi tank destroyer. Now I was reading about the SS in this curse book, and it was talking about this one regiment. I think it was a regiment or battalion in Totenkopf. And the name of it, I didn't recognize the name of it because they all had, different names of I think Das Reich had one that was a Der Fuhrer regiment or something like that. They had names for the regiments as well within the division. And this particular one in Totenkopf was named after a commandant of Dachau. I'm like, that just tells you they're dickheads, you know? And don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with them destroying communists, because I don't like communists, but you can't exterminate other races just because, you know, they're there in the process. That doesn't make you any better. So that's why I like to say the Eastern Front is like, you know, which asshole do you want to be? You know? Commandant of Dachau. Canarias tiene paisaje volcánico de otro planeta. Islas Canarias. Yeah, there's not a time to go everywhere. No hay tiempo para todo. I'm sure we'll be back. I'm disappointed that we get to go to Spain and I won't go to El Escorial. I would love to go to El Escorial, but you know. I want to go to one of those museums and point out all the wrong shit they have there. That's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. They get wrong shit in museums here. I'm sure they get it wrong over there too. Canarias no coincide con una ruta de crucero. Yeah, if you guys haven't taken a cruise is the most economical thing you can do. We just went to New York for a week, and it cost, and we got a lot of like stuff that we didn't have to pay for, and it cost a fortune. It cost more than any cruise that we've ever taken. And we go on, we go on nice cruises. We don't go on, El Cheapo. So it's expensive to travel when it's not, when it's like, on your own kind of thing, when it's not like a package deal. Okay, so if this thing was kicking up dirt, you're going to get a lot of dirt here, right? You're going to get a lot of it here, and probably up on the side here as well. Okay, this is going to just be kicking and screaming. And we'll have to paint the muffler back there too. All right, now we do the Iraqi sand. Missed out going to Spain when I was stationed over there. Yeah. It's almost impossible to... It's going to be a nightmare taking 2 weeks off in a row. It's going to be a nightmare, but people are just going to have to deal with me not being around. I've been there almost 30 freaking years. And, I got nobody to cover for me, so sink or swim. Got to leave everything done. I'm not looking forward to that. It's, I don't get that many days off a year, and it's every time I take one, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for me. Well, it's a nightmare for everybody else, too, but it's a nightmare for me. I got to leave everything done. Hopefully it doesn't change. I'd have to redo it before I leave and then fix everything and readjust. It's not fun. Even when it's just one day. I hear Americans have the least vacation time. I've been maxed out on vacation days for almost a decade. So I only get 18. So that's pretty low. But if I got more, it'd be a pain in the ass to take them, you know? So I like it when we're closed down, like over between Christmas and New Year's, because the whole plant's shut down, which means everything you come back, it's just as you see it, Nothing changed. Just highlighting these edges. That catches the light. Why is there wetness there? We don't need that. All right, I need to step away from this thing so I can see what I've done. Sometimes you can get too close to your subject matter to see. Oh, I like how that looks. I like how it looks. And we'll end up painting some of the flat coat on that, and you won't see the shine on that decal. I left the service with 60 days leave they pay me for. Yeah, I don't want to be in the service though. That's a thankless job right there. And it's even worse now than it was before. What's that show that's on that chorizo? Yeah, you're trying to make me hungry. El aceite de oliva. That's what I have every day. Olive oil. Every freaking day. Yeah, not in the market for Spanish girls though. Sorry, a little too late. 2 decades too late. All right. This one? Yeah, this one should work. Let's get some black out here. Yeah, I don't mind visiting other places, but man, I don't want to live anywhere else. I'm good here. I'm nice and spoiled. And that's good because it'd be a pain in the ass to go live somewhere else. I don't even want to move. That's enough of a pain in the ass. I can't imagine living somewhere temporarily, regardless of whether or not I spoke the language. A Marder? Yes, it's a Marder 2D. Yeah, it's based on a Panzer 2D that was kind of a weird one that had different road wheels and stuff on it. And I can't remember if they used them in France and after France, or was just in Poland. I get it mixed up because there was a Panzer III that did the same thing happen to it. They only used it in Poland and they stopped. I think they used these in... Honestly, I don't know. I'll probably just be making it up. But it's the same chassis as the Flamingo. There's a Panzer II Flamme, the Flamme Panzer II, which they had like 100 of them. 100 must have been like the magic number for the Germans because they had like 100 of the Flamme Panzer IIIs as well, which is not very many, but ugly little thing, the Panzer II Flamme. But, you know, eye of the beholder, I guess, but I don't like it. I think it's ugly as shit. Okay, there's the shovel handles back here somewhere. Let's add a little bit more of this. Some of these even made it to North Africa. Though they probably didn't show up to North Africa until like the time of Ghazala. Which, to me, that's on the back end of it. It's definitely on the back end of it. Second half. Because I consider Tunisia, it's kind of its own thing, so. You know, North Africa for the Germans only lasts from April 1941 to really November of 42. So anything 42 is the second half of it. Pretty much. Me ha entrado hambre, of course. Talking about food. See if you can't paint it like there's seat marks on this. This is really very rudimentary seats. They come welded in with the superstructure. It almost looks like it's flash or something like that. Almost had to kind of do a double take on taking them off. Mr. Dirk, Marder's looking good. How are you doing crew for it? Plastic Soldier Company, guys. And they might look a little large because these are 1/72 and this is 1/76, but they'll be fine. It will turn out to be just fine. We'll mess with that a little bit later, but yeah, you showed up and it's time for me to leave because it's 11:30 on a work night. And it's the second night this week that I've stayed up past my bedtime because anytime I go over to Mitch's, blah, 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 blah. So that's where we're going to stop for the night. We got some T-34s painted as well, at least in the base color. And yeah. Doesn't look too bad. All that shininess will come off. So, that's what we got. So, okay. Well, until next time, folks, thanks for stopping by. Got quite a few viewers all the way through and kind of long for a weeknight considering we started a little later. Okay, folks. We'll catch you soon in a couple days.